Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's video, I'll be sharing 4 of our favorite sheet pan dinners with you. These recipes are easy to make, they are delicious, budget friendly, and I know you and your family will love them. So if you're looking for some quick and easy dinner ideas, just keep watching. Tonight for dinner, I'm making a sheet pan balsamic chicken. I've made this a couple other times and we enjoy this. To get started, I'm going to make the marinade for the chicken and veggies. So here I have 2 large chicken breasts that I just sliced into tenderloins. I didn't have any chicken tenders. You can use either or. In this measuring cup, I'm going to add in my olive oil. And you can make this in a bowl as well. I just like to use the measuring cup so that I can pour it into the bag. Now I'm going to add in the balsamic vinegar, a package of the Italian dressing mix, and then some garlic powder. And I will include the recipe for this in the description box below. I'm going to whisk that together really well and then put about 2/3 of that in with the chicken breast, give that a shake, and then I'm going to allow this to marinate. The longer you let it marinate, of course, the better it is. If you only have 30 minutes, that's fine. But if you have a couple hours, that's even better. I've got my oven preheated to 400 degrees, and next I'm going to get started on my veggies. So I'm going to take this zucchini. I have washed all of my produce. I'm just going to slice that and then add that to my cookie sheet. Next, I'm going to add some baby carrots, and you can totally customize these vegetables. Use whatever you and your family like. Now I'm going to take some baby red potatoes, and I sliced the large ones into quarters. The smaller ones I just sliced in half. I'm going to add those to the cookie sheet as well. Next, I'm going to add some red onion. You could also use yellow or white. I'm just using what I have on hand. I'm going to add that to my sheet pan. And then you'll also need some cherry tomatoes, but you don't want to add these right now. Just go ahead and set those to the side. So to my vegetables, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil, some salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Give that a toss, and then I'm going to spread the vegetables out onto my sheet pan into a single layer, and then cook these in the preheated oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll add the chicken. After about 15 minutes, I'm going to remove the sheet pan from the oven. I'm going to toss the vegetables around a little bit and then move them to the edges to make some room in the center for the chicken. I'm going to add the chicken to the center, and I don't believe I showed it on here, but I did sprinkle a little bit of salt over the chicken. I'm just going to spread the chicken out a little bit, and then I'm going to add the cherry tomatoes to the vegetables. Then I'm going to take the remaining third of the vinaigrette that we made earlier and marinated our chicken in. I'm just going to take that and drizzle that over the vegetables. And then I'm going to place this back into the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes or until the chicken is 165 degrees. And here's the finished dinner out of the oven. And here are the finished plates. We have the chicken and the vegetables. This is so good. It's so flavorful. I recommend you give this recipe a try. For dinner the next night, I had kebabs on the meal plan, but to be honest, I was just feeling a little lazy. Didn't feel like soaking the skewers and skewering everything and getting the grill out and all that. So I thought, hey, let's just do deconstructed kebabs and make it into a sheet pan dinner. So I'll have the recipe that I use in the description box below. I like to marinate the chicken. You don't have to do that, but it gives it good flavor. Here's what I'm going to use to do that. I've got ground coriander, basil, thyme, oregano, olive oil, red wine vinegar, minced garlic, some lemon juice, and then remember the measurements will be in the recipe down below. All I did was combine everything and then added that to a Ziploc bag along with some chicken breast that I had cut into cubes. And you want to marinate this for about 30 minutes. You do not want to marinate it though longer than I'd say probably 2 hours. The lemon juice will start to cook the chicken, especially when it's small, cut small like that. So no more than 2 hours. The oven is preheating to 400 degrees. On the sheet pan, I've got some zucchini, red onion, and green bell pepper that I tossed with some of the olive oil, salt, and pepper. Now you can pop everything onto the sheet pan and put it in the oven at once. We like our veggies a little more on the tender side, specifically the onions and bell pepper. So I like to give those a head start, but again, you can cook them all at once. I just popped the veggies in and cooked them for about 10 minutes or so, pulled the sheet pan out of the oven, added the chicken, and then popped it back into the oven and baked it for about 15 to 20 minutes or until the chicken is at least 165 degrees. So here I've got some pita bread. I just got this at Walmart. I'm going to warm that up. I have some feta crumbles I'm going to add on top. And then normally I make my tzatziki sauce, and the recipe that I have down below, it includes, how to make tzatziki. But today, to make it easy on myself, I bought this boar's head tzatziki, and it was really good. I'd buy that again. Now, I set out this rice pilaf because we were, again, going to do kebabs, so I was going to make it like a plate. But I decided last minute to make just gyros, so that's what I did. And here's my plate. Gary was at the gym this night, so he ate when he came home. Just warmed up the pita, added the chicken and veggies along with some of the feta and tzatziki. And then I've got the zucchini on the side, and this was dinner, and it was so delicious and so flavorful. First up, I made 15-minute sheet pan beef and broccoli. Now, this recipe and all of the recipes from today's video will be linked down in the description box below. So here are the ingredients that we're going to need. It looks like a lot, but this is really easy, and you probably have most of this stuff already on hand. For the beef part, the recipe recommends flank steak, which I happen to have on hand. I got this on markdown at Food Lion. It was in my freezer, so I just let it thaw. You're also going to need some chopped green onions, fresh broccoli, brown sugar, soy sauce, honey, garlic, rice vinegar, some ground ginger, crushed red pepper flakes or cayenne, and that is optional, and you can use that to taste, sesame oil, salt and pepper, sesame seeds, and then cornstarch. We're going to start out by making the marinade for the steak. So to this bowl, we're going to add the soy sauce, minced garlic, honey, the brown sugar, sesame oil, rice vinegar, ginger, salt and pepper, and then the red pepper flakes or cayenne if you're using them. And then you're going to whisk that until it's combined really well. Now, here in the background, you'll see me seasoning the steak with salt and pepper. I don't believe the recipe called to do that, but I just wanted to go ahead and season the steak just a little bit. All right, let's talk steak for a quick minute. Now, like I said, I had a flank steak on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. That's what the recipe suggests. I have made beef and broccoli before, not this recipe, but just another recipe for beef and broccoli, using a sirloin steak. Sirloin steaks are usually pretty cheaper, so you could do either or. Now, the recipe says to slice the flank steak against the grain in small bite-sized pieces. If you're not familiar with what that means, if you look at your steak, and really that's with any cut of meat, there is going to be like a pattern to the meat. Think about like a wood grain. You'll see that in your meat. All the fibers will kind of run in a direction. And so you want to cut against that or cut perpendicular to that. And that will ensure that your meat is tender and it's not like super stringy. So I am adding my sliced steak to the marinade. Now, the recipe says that you can go ahead and just cook it immediately, but of course, if you can give it a little bit of time to marinate, that would be even better, up to like 30 minutes or an hour. What I did was I put the marinade together, added the steak, and then started preheating the oven to 425 degrees, and I let the steak marinate while the oven was preheating, so about 15 minutes or so. So here I've got my sheet pan. I lined it with foil, which I would suggest because there's sugar in that marinade. I've sprayed it with a little bit of cooking spray. I'm going to take this steak and using some tongs, remove the steak to the sheet pan, and you want to try to get it in a single layer as much as you can. Next, we're going to take some broccoli. I just cut these into florets, and the recipe suggested taking the broccoli and kind of dunking them in that marinade and then adding it to the sheet pan. And at first I was kind of like, yeah, that seems like an extra step. I don't know if I really want to do that, but I went with it, and I'm glad that I did it. Added some flavor and, a little bit of moisture to the broccoli. So this is going to go into the preheated oven, and you'll bake this for about 10 to 12 minutes or until the steak is cooked to your liking and the broccoli is fork tender. The recipe says that this next step is optional, but I knew I wanted to do it because we love like extra sauce to drizzle on our rice. So in this saucepan here, I've added the rest of the marinade and brought it to a boil over about medium-high heat. Once it's there, I'm going to add in a cornstarch slurry, which is just cornstarch and some cold water. I'm going to whisk that and then boil it for about 30 seconds to a minute until it's thickened, and then that's pretty much it. Now, I didn't have quite enough sauce is what I wanted, and it was a little bit thick, so I did add in a little bit of water. Next time I make this, which I'll definitely make this again, I will double the marinade sauce though, so that we have extra to like drizzle over the rice. But once I thickened that marinade up and the beef and broccoli was done, I poured that sauce over it and then gave it one final toss, and that's it. This is ready. Like I said, super easy, really quick to put together. We are going to garnish this with some sesame seeds, and then I'll also garnish it with some of the chopped green onions when I go to serve it up. This is what it looked like when it was done, and this was really yummy. It had great flavor. Now, to go along with this, I just did some white rice. I cooked it up in my rice cooker, and then I don't have the package. I apologize. I'd taken these out of the package, but I think it's pronounced the men's egg rolls that I get from Sam's Club. I just warmed those up in the air fryer, made some quick sweet and sour sauce, and this was our dinner. Super, super yummy. Next, I made a Cajun shrimp, sausage, and veggie sheet pan dinner, and this was another hit. We really loved this. Here are the ingredients that I'm going to use. First up, we need some shrimp. This is frozen shrimp that I allowed to thaw. I'm going to make sure it's peeled and deveined. Next, we need either some pork or chicken sausage. I had this chicken andouille sausage in my freezer. I got this several months back at Aldi. I just allowed it to thaw, and I'm going to get that sliced up. Got some bell pepper. Now, the recipe did not call for onion, but I had this on hand in my fridge that needed to be used up, so I'm going to add that. I've got some squash and zucchini here. The recipe does call for asparagus. I forgot to grab some, so I'm just going to skip it, but you could use asparagus or even broccoli. I think would be yummy in this. And then we need some oil and Cajun seasoning. I just got this at the Dollar Tree. It's the Kingsford brand. And while I was grabbing this, I saw this Essence of Emerald seasoning, and so I'm going to use that as well. All right, let me show you how to put this together. I've got the oven preheating to 400 degrees. I'm going to take the chicken andouille sausage, get that sliced up, and then get my shrimp, deveined and peeled and all that fun stuff. And then once that's done, I'm going to add the shrimp and the sausage to a large bowl. Next, I'm going to add in that onion, and I just chopped it up. Next, I'm going to add the red bell pepper, and really you could use whatever color you prefer. I don't love green bell peppers, so I try to use red or orange or yellow if I can, but just use whatever you prefer, what you've got on hand. I'm then going to add my zucchini and squash. I just slice these and then cut each slice into halves, so like a moon shape. I'm going to add some oil and then season to taste. I didn't measure the seasonings. The recipe provides measurements, but I just say season it to your taste. So I'm adding the Cajun seasoning and the essence. I'm going to give it a really good stir so that all of my veggies and the shrimp and sausage are coated with the oil and seasonings. Once that's done, I'm going to take a cookie sheet. I sprayed this with some cooking spray just to double check, make sure that it didn't stick. I'm going to add my veggies and meat, and then this is going to go into the preheated oven, and you're going to bake this for about 15 to 20 minutes or until the shrimp is pink and the vegetables are tender. I had some leftover cornbread that I wanted to use up, so I thought it would be good to go along with this. I had made this a couple days before. It was the Plain Chicken's doctored up Jiffy cornbread. It was my first time making it, and I'd make it again. It was yummy. I'll link the recipe down in the description box below for you. Now, last but not least, I put together a really quick Cajun cream sauce, and I didn't film me making this. I apologize, but literally last minute as I was serving everything up, I decided to put this together because my husband loves condiments. I've mentioned that before. He's a big condiment guy, and so I knew he would like something to dip his veggies and shrimp in. And so all this is mayonnaise, Cajun seasoning, smoked paprika, garlic powder, hot sauce. The recipe called for tomato sauce, but I just used a little bit of ketchup. I'll have that recipe again linked down below. And here are the plates. So we've got the chicken and sausage and veggies along with that little dip I made, and then the cornbread that I warmed up, and this dinner was delicious. The chicken and sausage and veggies had so much flavor. It was so good, and it took maybe 30 minutes to put the whole thing together. I just did all the prep, slicing the chicken sausages and getting the shrimp ready and prepping all the vegetables while the oven preheated, and then it took 10 or 12 minutes to bake. So super quick and easy weeknight meal. All right, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.